Hello, and welcome to the Common Briefing Program, part of the Common Geeking Program, where each month we take a look at the last month of geek news to bring you the hottest headlines from geeks around the world. My name is Colin. I tend to run this little shindig. And we are about to recap what we think is the most important, interesting, or impactful geek news from the month of January. I am joined by two people whose names are this.
Ooh, I am getting a psychic message. I am now a clairvoyant. This is Jeff. Hi, my name is Jeff, in case that wasn't obvious. But I'm receiving a psychic message from the gods right now, and I'm about to make my cosmic prediction for this episode. And the only thing that could change this is if one of you two decide to thwart my prediction just for the sake of. But I'm getting a message. Wait, it's coming in. It's coming in. I think that this month we are going to be in total unanimous agreement about the most important story of January 2021 in geek news. That is my official fucking prediction.
Are you talking about the failed coup and insurrection of the U.S. Capitol?
That's not geek news.
You're right.
Or the fact that we finally got rid of Trump, and now we got to deal with Biden, who's less bad, but still,
both of these things, I'm sure, will have fucking huge ramifications on the geek news market from some way or another. But I think you all know what fucking story I'm talking about, and we'll fucking get into it at some point.
Well, we'll get there. And who else is joining us?
Hi, I'm Timel, or Chowder, whichever you prefer.
That is some heat Chowder's bringing today.
Well, to be fair, that was just like a normal introduction, and I did my whole stupid bullshit introduction. So
I guess
I don't
Chowder's
think
usually the one pulling some goddamn shenanigans in the beginning, and today,
yeah, that's true.
I'm switching. I'm
he's,
flipping the script. I'm stealing Chowder's goddamn shenanigans. I'm not even the one talking about this story. But
all right,
my shenanigans right in front of my salad.
Well,
there we go.
We've got just under 1 hour for Chowder to completely reclaim his shenanigans. So as usual, when talking about geek news, I don't know why, but I feel like it's a pretty good idea to get an idea of the temperature, see how people are feeling. So I'll start. I accidentally fell asleep during my workday. It had no consequences, but I'm in that weird sort of post-nap, mental twilight. That is
the
a
grog.
mixture
you got the grog going on.
Yeah, I'm not cloudy-headed. I'm kind of ready to do anything, but I'm also ready to pass the fuck out again.
Yeah,
that weird
happens
dissonant state.
That happens 50% of the time I ever take naps. Is it just fucking ravages the rest of my day?
Yeah. Well, how about you two? How are you guys feeling on this crisp, snowy February day? Jeff, how's the snow for you?
Too much snow. Too much snow.
You might say that the snow is in fact quite non-existent in California. I wore a t-shirt and flip-flops today, as I do every day, because that's
I did
just
too,
how it
and
is.
I lost half my toes.
I had to shovel
I'm doing okay.
Ugh.
I'm quite hungry is my main whole thing right now is that I haven't eaten lunch or breakfast yet. Mind you, it's only 1 o'clock for me as opposed to the 4 o'clock that it is for the two of you.
That's very true. Man, shoveling is I don't know, sometimes it's a really nice way to just spend some time, but whenever shoveling is in between you and whatever you have to do, it's just bad. And I'm very glad I don't have to go anywhere.
Quite never felt that shoveling was a good use of my time, really.
I don't know. Okay, Chowder, was this a shoveling experience where you were like, damn it, I have to go do the shoveling? Or was it a kind of a nice little bit of time to yourself where you just got to listen to something while you did a chore? Where did it fall on that spectrum?
It was definitely the first one.
Okay.
I didn't really get a chance to listen to any music or podcast or whatever. It was cold.
Just imagine if when you were shoveling, and even if you were listening to any music or podcast, what you could have been doing to spend that time alternatively is not shoveling and listening to those same music and podcasts. So, really, I don't think it enhances the situation at all.
Yeah. But in other news, I've been playing this game called Amori, and It's really good. It's like surreal and whimsical, and
Same.
But like in equal parts scary as fuck. It's great. I love it.
Nice.
That's I've played 2 games. One that is surreal and whimsical, and one that is scary as fuck. Those games being Donut County, where you play a hole in the ground that eats everything up, and the other called Donut County's. It's pretty fun. And then The Medium, which is only on the new Xboxes, and it's a big old spooky game. So I feel you on that vibe. And whenever I'm not in the middle of doing something, I've been firing up one of those 2 and just sinking into the snow day vibe.
The only game I've been playing is Postmates, baby, making a mediocre amount of money.
I thought for a second you were saying you were playing the game of ordering Postmates, not
Nope.
delivering Postmates.
No,
And
it's
you're like, all right.
Postmates. It's kind of like a game, you know. You get your tasks. You got to go from one place to the next.
Oh,
Sometimes,
no, yeah, the truth of the situation makes a lot of sense to me, but the idea that you're like, Russian roulette, which fucking restaurant am I going to destroy myself on tonight?
No, it's like that, except I get to just like sit in the car with all the food smells and get really hungry and then not be able to eat any of it. But you know, I get some quests occasionally where, you know, I'll get to a house and it'll be like three houses on a row that just straight up don't have house numbers on them, and I have to fucking suss out which one is supposed to go.
Yeah,
the order is supposed to go to.
My fucking apartment is such a problem because like all the map systems say that my building is on the other like side of the street, like further down the street. We've taken to setting one of our light bulbs to like a bright green, so they're like, "Where are you?" And we're like, "Just look for the bright green window." And that's our cheat code to try to circumvent the mayhem. Well, it looks like we're all playing different games, and like Jeff is on just a different wavelength. He is clairvoyant though, so I'm sure it's gonna pan
exactly.
out.
I imagine that's what all clairvoyants end up doing eventually, is just fucking driving for Postmates.
Let's get into the news. So I have a question for the 2 of you. There was one really big story that was not insurrection/election related. Do we want to just jump right into sort of figuring out what's going on there, or do we kind of want to table that? I don't know what you guys
How many other
Let's
things do you have to talk about?
So GameStop.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So have either of you seen The Big Short?
No.
Cause I think
I've seen The Big Sick. Does that count?
Very, very different film. The Big Short is about the 2008 housing market collapse. It's an excellent movie, and it's one of 2 times that I've looked at a stock market situation and thought, I get that. This month was the second. And I'm not saying I did get it. I'm saying I felt like I got it. That was my experience, whether or not it was correct. So what happened this month was a bunch of people on Reddit, on subreddit WallStreetBetw, came to notice that a lot of hedge funds, particularly Melvin Capital, were short-selling GameStop stock. Now, you all know GameStop. It's the only thing about this that's like really geek news. Actually, no, this spiraled into geek news in a lot of ways. But, you know, GameStop, the place that has been ripping people off for money for decades, has become the tool for people to rip each other off for money via the stock market.
It's just, it could have fucking been anything. I mean, it couldn't have been anything, but I mean, like, the significance of this, given the significance of the story, it could have been anything. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter that it was GameStop. It's that's kind of just a fucking hashtag or a fucking
ancillary detail.
Yeah, that.
That's all, folks.
Except I do think that where this story goes does circle around into some of the stuff that we sometimes address here. We tend to be pretty game centric, but I know that I've ventured into like privacy and bigger concerns on this show. So what happened was they noticed WallStreetBetw noticed
maybe
that the hedge funds...
we should probably break down just like a bullet fucking point of what short selling is, just in case?
That's what I'm about to do. Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I haven't even said it yet. So the Wall Street Bets noticed that the hedge funds were short selling GameStop stocks, which essentially means they borrowed the stocks, sold them, knowing that their value is going to decrease, with the intent of buying them back once that value has decreased and then returning the loaned stocks. So essentially, they're selling them, buying them back cheap, and keeping the difference. It is a market manipulation tactic that, well, at least, again, according to The Big Short, directly led to the massive, massive financial crisis in 2008. And it's not illegal. It's just the thing they do. Because it's
significant.
Fun.
It's significant that it's GameStop, right? Because this is like a company that like clearly was going to do worse, not just with the pandemic, but like, you know, just the movement of the future with people moving to more digital game buying and stuff like that. That's that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And also because like a lot of the people doing the shenanigans were gamers, and thus, you know, we haven't been...
I have to suspect, and I'm sure that there will be books and movies about this. I think there's already a movie in the works.
Oh God, there is.
It's
being written by it's like has like a consultant who like is like this fiasco is a result of young men being blocked off from having sex with women.
Oh my God, really?
I shit you not.
It's the incels.
Just blame okay, listen, incels, like, certainly a problem category of behavior. I don't think you can blame all internet anger on incels. I just don't think that that's everything that's happening. I think that this is a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, here we go. The consultant is Scott Galloway, and this is basically his tweet. What happened here, referring to the GameStop shenanigans, it's about sex, specifically young men not having enough, in parentheses, sex. Sex leads to relationships, obligations, and guardrails. Don't get in fights. We need you. Don't gamble your paycheck. We need to save for a house. A boy/angry young man is the most dangerous person in the world.
I hate this. I hate this so much.
When
for
countries
like more
have
than
unemployed young men who are single, the likelihood that countries goes to war escalate. We have cut the share of wealth of young people in half in the last third. Okay, that actually makes more sense.
I'm gonna rebut some of that in a little bit.
I hate this so much, not just for the obvious reason, but like really the big thing for me is that the tone of that is framing this whole thing as a bad thing because it's fucking, whereas like from the fucking, you know, this is a good thing fucking over people with hedge funds. Like,
what's been happening?
Not even a question.
Is the process of short selling got interrupted. A way to counter a short sell is to squeeze the short seller, where the person or group selling things at a high value to buy them back at a cheap one. Well, some people on Wall Street Bets bought them knowing what the hedge funds were going to do, and the hedge funds went to go buy them back expecting that they could just buy it back at the low value. And then the Wall Street Bets people said no. And because the stock market is not really a reflection of anything's value and just a reflection of what people think value is,
like what stocks people
a company's
are holding.
futures, because suddenly the demand for GameStop went up, the price of the stock went up like crazy. And it got to a point where, and I'm going to skip through a lot of the details.
We're going to take this to the moon.
A number of other stocks, including AMC and BlackBerry, got lumped into this quote meme stock group where Wall Street Bets was squeezing these short sells. And on GameStop alone, I think Melvin Capital had to like receive like $20 billion injection to cover its losses. And as of earlier today, we're recording this on February 2nd. As of earlier today, GameStop is finally like way back down under $100, where some would say it belongs. Because a lot of Wall Street folks are either getting different lower interest rates on their stocks to sort of make their losses easier to cover, or bailing altogether.
Which is absolute nonsense.
Bullshit. They made a shitty gamble. People called them out on the shitty gamble, and now they get to be bailed out. While we still haven't
they're not being bailed out.
Checks.
They're not being bailed out. They are bailing out on the operation. They're saying, "Fuck this. I'm done.
But when they're given lower interest rates and something like that, that is a luxury that a normal person who makes a bad gamble would not receive.
Fair.
Like,
no, that's a fair point.
They're being bailed out by like they're moving to like make policies and stuff to like, change this all around because they're like panicking. But it's like, no, that's the point of the gamble, is that you have like, because a normal individual, if they fucking gambled on stocks and got the shit end of a stick because something erratic happened, they would not get bailed out by any means, and it would be a lot less money to bail out an individual versus like the whole hedge fund.
Enterprise has felt very much like, the folks on Wall Street running these hedge funds are used to running this game the way that they want, and they're not used to anyone telling them otherwise. To me, this almost looks like a big brother and a little brother who have always played games together, and the big brother always wins the games, but the little brother finally grew up and started to play the games real good, and the older brother punched them in the face. That's kind of what this whole situation feels like.
Are you
me.
speaking from personal experience, Colin?
Not particularly. I was always better than my brother at video games. In other matters, tables flipped. So a lot of where I think the more interesting geek news stuff comes up is how platforms responded to this. One of the biggest things that people noticed was the Robinhood app that people can use to buy and sell stocks. As Wall Street individuals and publicists and hot fudge managers were calling out about how much of a problem this was because they lost their gamble, Robinhood stopped allowing individuals to buy and sell stocks. So there are going to be congressional hearings about, hey,
there were even certain cases where like Robinhood was going onto people's accounts and being like, hey, we're selling your stocks for you and you can't do anything about it.
I did see people reporting that anecdotally on Twitter. I never saw a verification of it. Did you guys ever see anybody verifying that particular operation?
I mean, no. I saw screenshots of it, but I don't know if that.
Yeah, not like straight up verification. But then again, this is something you do on the sly, not So.
But either way, it's messed up, especially because just the irony in the company Robinhood doing this, right?
Stealing, they stole from the poor and gave to the rich has been
exactly
the meme of it.
And the reality is that's because Robinhood doesn't make its money from the user using their stocks.
They're like Facebook.
They make their money by selling your data. Yeah, they're like Facebook, exactly.
Yeah.
So essentially, I think the reason this does boil down to geek news and not just financial news is because this has been facilitated by primarily a Reddit forum. At one point, a Discord group, which was shut down, which also drew some attention. Discord's official statement was that the WallStreetBetw Discord was shut down because of rampant hate speech and violation of a lot of their behavioral guidelines.
Oh yeah, people can try to plan an insurrection, a white supremacist insurrection, and you just sit on your ass, but this is what you cut the axe on. All right.
Exactly. And that's what they said. And I read a post from the mods of our Wall Street Bets saying that they were asking for more moderation tools and help and didn't get them, and they failed to moderate the Discord. But the Reddit was taken offline for a moment, but very quickly went back up. I don't really know everything that went on behind that. There were a lot of different stories. But essentially what this all boils down to is the democratization of Wall Street info, which for people who don't invest regularly, stocks are opaque. I don't get it.
Oh, no,
The talking I've done here is the most coherent and hopefully the most correct I have ever been talking about a significant financial event. And what we are seeing, and a lot of folks, this essentially turned into a dialogue about, the big guys versus the little guys, and the little guys finally having the power to stand up to their bully older brother. #NotMyBrother.
But also not really, because then the government just fucking steps in and does shit about it because the market's not actually free,
Not a free market,
Yeah.
Well, and that's it. To me, it seems very much like the free speech argument. It's like people say free speech doesn't exist, and it's like, okay, there needs to be an understanding of what free speech actually means in terms of what the government can do, how deplatforming works in contrast to that, and it's been such a goddamn mess about what steps individual people and platforms have taken during the GameStonks fiasco and what the government has been doing, which, according to the Treasury Secretary and the President, has been keeping an eye on it. But I know that the House is going to be. I know that they're calling on the CEO of Robinhood to talk to them about it. But essentially, the reason I think
they shouldn't do anything to help the hedge funds. I don't think. I think they should.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that they should. There should be some looking into Robinhood, because like they're just like letting the Robinhood is like basically manipulate. Like obviously the whole thing is market manipulation, but like if Robinhood as a company, for I know they don't control all of the stocks that go in, but like if they can just decide that you can't buy stocks in a company anymore, then the whole thing is just bullshit. You know what I mean?
That's the concern, is the big guy versus little guy thing. And the reason little guys have any ability to stand up to this is because of forums that do allow for people to spread and share this information. And there's been a lot of talk from various successful hedge fund managers and Wall Street investors that have said, like, this is great. This is people finally having the ability to look through that opaque wall and do something with this system. So it started off as a fun joke about, hey, people are driving up the GameStop thing, and ended with a very significant development of the democratization of information through primarily pretty geeky, nerdy forums. And I'm kind of hoping it keeps moving in that direction.
Approaching a year ago, Animal Crossing came out. It had its own stock market in there. Cut to now, and gamers are one-upping the hedge fund and
they're
companies.
They're just min-maxing the system.
Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. Okay. Do you guys have any other things you want to say on the GameStonks fiasco?
No, that's about it. Fuck hedge funds. Fuck anyone who's arguing that they should be protected.
Seriously,
in this.
Watch The Big Short. It will infuriate you more than anything about this situation ever has.
Turnips.
I guess the last thing that I have to say about this is I don't feel particularly optimistic that this will turn out positive overall for society. Like, I think this is going to be one of those things where like it's kind of an exciting push for a little while, and then the people who have the money control the media, and then the media will stop talking about it, and then people will stop talking. I think it's gonna go away without the total
of course it is.
Dismantling of this system. It's
already sort of fallen out of the news cycle, but I mean, like, one stock surge does not dismantle a system. It is the fact that this can happen. And that is going to be a thing to watch, to see how these go in the future, because suddenly people that have taken the system for granted might not be able to do that anymore. And that on its own, without any sort of institutional change, is a seismic shift that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I hope so. I guess part of my whole pessimism here is that I feel like more policies and shit will be put in place that allow fucking hedge funds to not take the system for granted, or to take the system for granted like they did before. Like, I'm worried that it's going to just like turn around, and then it'll be like, oh, look at this exposed holes in the system, when in fact, like, this is how the system is supposed to operate. So like I'm worried that policies are going to be in place so that it's really
that
not
kind of
risky.
language. I'm not explicit. I wouldn't explicitly say like this is how the system was designed to operate, but this is how it has operated, and there are institutions that want to keep it operating that way. And people like me are scrolling through Reddit going, "Get fucked." That's pretty much it.
Yeah, language aside though, you know what I mean. Like I'm worried that everything is going to quote unquote go back to normal with some new policies that prevent stuff like this from happening, which is just terrible. But anyway.
I'm at a point where I don't necessarily think that will happen. But hey, Jeff, you and I can certainly follow up on that once anything does transpire.
I hope I'm wrong, truthfully.
I do too. But let's get into some more of our typical fare. I'm just going to zip through a couple. I have 3 things I want to talk about. I'm going to only try to take a couple minutes here. The first one, earlier in the month, there was a teaser trailer for an Indiana Jones video game developed by Bethesda's studio, Machine Games. And it was just a little 10-second teaser on Twitter, and on its face you're like, oh, cool, an Indiana Jones game.
Probably
then
just going to be an Uncharted clone.
Which is interesting for a couple reasons. If you want to get into the game itself, the series Tomb Raider, which recently also went through an Uncharted-esque renaissance. Recently, it's been almost 10 years ago. Wow. But Tomb Raider, and I'm just curious about this, was a franchise where they said, well, what if we made an Indiana Jones video game? And then they did, and they called it Tomb Raider. That's what Tomb Raider is. It's an Indiana Jones video game.
Yeah, but Uncharted is also just Indiana Jones, but if the protagonist was a douchebag.
I'd argue Indiana Jones is a little bit of a douchebag. He's just sexy enough to get away with it.
Significantly bigger douchebag, I guess.
Okay, fair enough. Well, there's also an Uncharted movie, so everyone's flipping the scripts here. So here, if you zoom out, though, it is actually a really interesting situation because in that little video, it said that Lucasfilm Games was helping produce it. Now, there are questions about...
Yeah, it'd be nice. There was an Indiana Jones game that was a point-and-click adventure game, and I'd actually rather like it if they did make a point-and-click adventure game.
Machine Games is primarily known for the last several entries in Wolfenstein, so I really doubt that's what we're going to get.
That's not what's happening, I see.
That's not what's happening. So, first of all, I'm curious because Bethesda is now a Microsoft company, so I'm wondering how the distribution's going to work. That's a story for another time. But the interesting thing is that Lucasfilm Games is producing this, and that is a new name. Lucasfilm Games was not a thing before. It is the new name for the LucasArts game division. So that raised a few eyebrows because we're all like, what is Lucasfilm Games doing on here? Especially when you understand that since
such a stupid
2013
fucking name.
Since
Can't they just make it Lucas Games? Lucasfilm Games? It's not a film, so it should be just Lucas Games.
I mean,
here's the thing. That point-and-click adventure game I was talking about,
Chowder, we are not spending a lot of time on point-and-click adventure Indiana.
No. I just want to point out that it was made by LucasArts.
Yes, yeah. No, yeah, it's the same company. This is just the new brand for their games division. But the interesting thing is that back in 2013, EA signed an exclusive deal to produce and publish Star Wars games. Now, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, not the same thing, but it was Bethesda, an EA competitor, now part of Microsoft, an EA partner, is the one producing this. And lo and behold, the next day, Lucasfilm issued an entire thing talking about the future of Star Wars games. Ubisoft is going to be making a Star Wars game. And without saying that they dropped EA, they were saying, we're not exclusive with EA anymore. So that one little teaser opened up a little Pandora's box of mysteries here. One, we don't know what the game is going to look like. Two, there has been a big shift in how these companies are dealing with each other because EA was supposed to start making games 10 years ago. Since then, they've put out Battlefront 1, which was well received, Battlefront 2, which created a lot of issues and incurred a lot of legal oversight and forced a last-minute push from Disney to gut the entire microtransaction system because people hated it so much, and resulted in the most downvoted Reddit comment of all time, where they essentially said, this is the game we made. You're going to play it anyway, so deal with it.
Oh my god.
If I don't get a Emperor Palpatine dating simulator out of this, what's the point?
But since then, they've published Jedi Fallen Order, which is a great sort of Souls-like Star Wars game, and Star Wars Squadrons, which is a dogfighting game where you play in the various, space fighters, TIE fighters, X-Wings, all that good stuff. Both of those games were great. But when you're talking 10 years and 4 games and a number of high-profile cancellations and market failures, EA got what was coming to them, and now we're going to get a lot more Star Wars games, and I hope they're as good as the last 2 we got.
Cool.
Another thing that came up, but this is just a fucked headline on a theme that we've been talking about for a couple of years. From Kotaku, report: Activision Blizzard calls policy to make hiring more diverse unworkable. And if you read their statement, they basically
wait.
said,
Sorry. Run that one by me one more time.
Sure. Let's play it back. Report: Activision Blizzard calls policy to make hiring more diverse unworkable. And here's what the policy says. It says to interview.
Yeah, they don't even got to hire them. Just interview
more qualified candidates that aren't just white dudes. And they said that's going to hurt our ability to make the games we want to make.
That's fucked.
That's very fucked.
And the thing is, like, these kinds of affirmative action style policies, they're not even completely effective, because guess what you can do? You can interview all the BIPOC, all the minorities you want, and still just hire the white dudes, which is not good. But they're, like, really pushing back on the idea that they have to even consider other people.
Which is so stupid.
And there's also been a lot going on lately with some reshuffling in Activision in general, where, like, Vicarious Visions is now dissolved, and all those people work for Activision Blizzard proper. So, like, no one got fired or anything. It was just a restructuring, and those people are still all employed there. But, like, the guy who ran Blizzard before the merger is also stepping down. So the Activision tentacles creep ever further through the Activision Blizzard monstrosity. And in the middle of all that, they say, we don't want to hire more people of color. And when you consider this from the publisher that cranks out a Call of Duty every year, it's just like, what's going on? What's going on, guys?
What could it hurt?
What could it hurt to at least interview that? Hey, I'll do you one better. If they're qualified, hire them.
Yeah. Because,
I don't know.
Hey, maybe if you fucking hire more fucking diverse people, then you'll have a game made in your company that isn't just the 19th fucking Call of Duty game that fucking is just the same thing every fucking time.
At the very least, maybe those Call of Duty games would have Arabic that wasn't gibberish on the signs. You know?
Is that a fucking thing? Because I believe it.
It's a thing.
Yeah. I believe in it.
Wait, is it gibberish, like it's actually Arabic letters, but they're just like not arranged in any way that actually means real words, or they're just made up symbols?
They're Arabic letters that are arranged in a way that makes no words.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
Just to take one particular quote out of this, and it's part of it, and the whole thing just feels like someone saying, I don't wanna, but one quote of it is, implementing a policy that would extend such an approach to all hiring decisions amounts to an unworkable encroachment on the company's ability to run its business. Does it though?
Like how? Yeah.
Does it though? But actually does it though?
Yeah, because you're gonna have to fucking back that one up with some rigorous fucking research if you want to just say that shit.
If your HR department is so anemic that it can't handle sending a couple more resumes to a couple different department leads, then maybe we gotta look at that HR system and finally address, everything else that goes on in the games industry. But, that's fun. The last thing I want to do, this will be very quick. A couple days ago, it was announced that Roger Craig Smith, prolific video game voice actor, will no longer be voicing Sonic the Hedgehog, which for me is honestly kind of sad. I really liked him as a voice actor. He also voiced like Ezio in the Assassin's Creed games. But I thought he had a very kind of like fun, freewheeling attitude that wasn't grating like some of the previous voices. And it started to get people asking some questions. There was just a very successful Sonic movie where they changed the person who voiced Sonic to Ben Schwartz. And people are wondering, is Ben Schwartz going to be Sonic in the games? I don't know probably not, because I don't think they could afford that. But also, they just announced, and this is bleeding into February a bit, they just announced a new 3D animated Sonic show called Sonic Prime coming to Netflix.
Oh, nice.
So there's clearly a big shakeup going on. The last time we had a big Sonic shakeup, we got Sonic Boom. So I'm really hoping it's better than last time.
The TV show was at least okay, but
I know a lot of people like the Sonic Boom TV show. The games were bad,
trash,
and
not even.
I bought them both. And
not even so bad it's good kind of way that Sonic 06 was.
No, like unplayably bad. Well, Sonic 06 would be so bad it's good if the game loading times weren't an incredible encroachment on the company's ability to run its business.
No, here's the thing, though. Like, if you watch speedruns of it, Sonic, it's a very popular speedrunning game because, like, the game,
Sonic.
Because the game fucks up, but it fucks up in consistent ways. So
yeah, it is fundamentally broken. I've beaten it more than once, so we're gonna move on, so I don't have to elaborate on that. Jeff, what you got?
Yeah, I've got two stories that aren't really quite as culturally significant as the ones you were talking about, except for Sonic. But it's fine. It's an interesting story. It's just not fucking Gamestonks. Sorry. The first one is Wandavision started airing this month. We are now, well, by the time that this episode airs, we'll be 5 episodes in, but by the time of this recording, we're only halfway through, which is 4 episodes in. And yeah, it's fun. I'm not gonna say too much about it because it's, spoilers and stuff like that.
Is it as weird and trippy as everyone says?
No, I don't think it's actually that trippy.
I feel like our friend group has a pretty different definition of trippy than the people whose most cultured movie outing was, I don't know, The Big Short.
It kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm guessing that this is probably going to turn around, but as of right now, it sort of gets less trippy as it goes along, to be honest.
I imagine. You have to start answering questions at some point.
Yeah, once questions start getting answered, then it becomes a little bit less trippy. But I'm sort of guessing that, so without revealing any of the actual details, basically, the first 3 episodes, we don't get a ton of answers, more just a lot of questions, and then we got a bunch of answers in episode 4. So either that is going to continue on with just more answers every episode, intermingled with questions being raised, etc. Going back and forth between questions and answers, or since that was the halfway point in the season, they're going to go back to tossing us in the dark, raise a bunch more questions, and then answer those for the finale. I could see it going either way. Either way, I'm a big fan of it. It's really interesting and it's different.
Wanda
it feels
just create that reality just to cope with.
I don't want to know these things. I don't want to know. That's the concept of the show.
We're not answering any sort of questions, and it's interesting.
I haven't watched WandaVision, by the way. I don't know.
Neither have I, and I want to. Don't make Jeff ruin my things. I like my things.
I'm not
going
to give
Jeff
the
in my
answer to
things.
that, or even say whether or not we've yet received an answer to that. But I just like it because it's interesting. It feels like it fits within the Marvel universe in a lot of ways, but it's not following a typical superhero structure of a story. We get some fun cameos from characters that could have quite possibly never seen again, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those leak.
Yeah, and it's a fun time, and it's an interesting mystery that has me genuinely hooked on where it's going, and it's been fun to watch the theories and be people making predictions about
Yeah,
it's one of those shows. But yeah, that's my one story, and then the other story is what was it, this Sunday or was it last Sunday? I can't remember. We just got a trailer for the new Godzilla versus King Kong movie, or just Godzilla versus Kong. I don't fucking remember what it's called.
Godzilla versus Kong: Dawn of Justice.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Godzilla versus Kong is what it's called. Yeah. Which is exciting for me. This is a fucking aside, but this is kind of coincided with, a few months ago I talked about how in the Transformers line, a lot of the new Beast Wars stuff was coming out soon, and fucking new Beast Wars fucking toys of Optimus Primal, who turns into a gorilla, and the Beast Wars Megatron, who turns into a T-Rex, came out less than a month ago. So it's a real good fucking, it coincides well with this trailer being released for me in my personal life.
That's a fun little bit of synergy. Monkey very big.
But Godzilla would still win, though.
Apparently,
original. What's going to happen is neither of them is going to win. It's going to be like Batman v Superman, where they fight. It's tense, and then suddenly Mecha Godzilla shows up, and they're new bad guy. That's
Fair
what's
enough.
gonna
People are thinking Mechagodzilla. There could possibly, I don't know if
What I hope is that it's not just
for-
Mechagodzilla, but there's like a robot Kong that they gotta fight too. 2v2, you know?
But so yeah, Colin, you and I were talking about how Kong is like a fuck ton bigger than he used to be. But apparently in the King Kong movie itself, there was like a significant dialogue about how he was still in his adolescence. So motherfucker's grown up, and he's the right size now. So that does explain that a little bit. But there's also, I've seen speculation, because like in some shots it looks like Godzilla is maybe not as big as he used to be. I've seen people speculating that maybe this is like a different Godzilla, because like in a lot of Godzilla like movies, there's like, you know, there's the first Godzilla, and then that one dies, and then there's another Godzilla, which is like sometimes the kid of Godzilla, or sometimes an evil new Godzilla. You know, like it's not
the bride of
unprecedented.
Godzilla.
Right, sure. So
I mean, one of my favorite moments was like in one of the Godzilla movies where like they throw shade on that really crappy American.
Oh, on Zilla, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, with the Matthew Broderick one from like 2000.
Yeah, they throw shade on the
yeah.
Matthew Broderick movie where like that version of Godzilla comes down and
then just immediately gets murdered.
Immediately gets murdered, and like there was a scene before where like they were discussing it, and one guy was like, "Wait, who's that? That's like Zilla."
Zilla,
they just
yeah.
That's pretty
No, yeah,
funny.
that 1999 Godzilla has like now officially in canon been turned into a creature called Zilla that is not Godzilla. Just very, because like there was always this concept of it's like fucking coming back now with fucking Rhino with Republicans in name only, but that started earlier with Gino, which is Godzilla in name only, which is like what people, you know, who are big Godzilla fans refer to as, you know, like the Americanized Godzilla, including the second 1999 Matthew Broderick Godzilla. But
Good
I took a whole
fucking
class on
grief.
Godzilla in undergrad, so it fucking some of my knowledge is fucking peeking through. But
Oh my god. Okay.
yeah, so that comes out on March 31st. It's, you know, it's gonna be a fun time. There's not really much more to say about it than that. Just that it happened. The trailer came out. It was kind of interesting to see like hype over, like we were given like, hey, this is the date that a trailer for this movie is going to release. Like, you know, big trailers have been hyped before, but I can't really remember a time when people were like, hey, save the date for this trailer dropping. It was kind of just like they released it whenever, right?
No, that's what it's been like for a few years now.
Okay, maybe I just haven't
I
been
mean,
paying attention. I don't know.
Late MCU stuff, that was absolutely what it was. Like,
That's
especially
fair.
because we didn't know the name of Endgame until like 5 months before it came out. But, you know, that's its own thing. Well, very cool. Nice little tidbits. Chowder, what have you got for us?
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is just there's this short film called Keratin, which, you know, won some awards. And the thing is, it was a case of just blatant plagiarism, like shot for shot.
Cool.
Shot
What?
It was a case of blatant plagiarism, like shot for shot. They copied a comic made by Adam Ellis, and like he even like shows the comparisons, and it's like, yeah, no, impossible to disagree. This is super. It's very much. They just took the comic.
Did they make a fan animation of Adam Ellis's comic and forget to say that's what it was?
No.
They made
this
a
is
fan animation, and then the fan
This
animator got amnesia and was like, "Holy shit! I came up with this great idea."
No, this is the thing. It's a live action movie. You know, co-directors Andrew Butler and James Wilson. They barely even try to hide it, and like the basic concept is just like a guy plants like human nails in the ground, and human body grows out. It's like a short horror concept, and it's like how bereft of ideas do you have to be that you gotta like rip off like a comic artist and like a relatively well-known comic artist. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen Adam Ellis.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Adam Ellis. Wait, let me look him up.
He has a pretty unique, like, button-nose, cutesy kind of style.
Like, I'll give you a link.
I'm just gonna Google him. Go ahead. You keep going.
Yeah, and like, I tried to click on the link where they had where the directors were like,
oh, that
interviewing.
guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
I tried
see
to
a bunch
like
of memes by him.
look at the interview where the directors were talking about their inspirations, but what do you know? It's not there anymore. So.
Well, that's gross. Is anything happening? Like, when did this come up, and what's being done as a result?
Well, Adam
Is
Ellis like
separated at birth is the thing.
like Adam Ellis like tweeted about it yesterday, but like this has clearly been ongoing for a while, so I do consider this January news.
Yeah, if he's bringing it up.
Yeah, so
sure.
I'm not sure what's being done about it now. Well, I'll be interested to see where it goes, because what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what the fuck?
And let's see. The next thing I want to talk about is Netflix announced that like they're gonna bring Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, which is like a short series of which is like a miniseries anime. And here's the thing, it's a spin-off of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, but Part 4 isn't on Netflix. Like, Rohan Kishibe is a character from Part 4, so like, how do you have the spin-off without the thing he was from? Like, I guess like at the end of because like here's the thing, the stories aren't like really tied to the stuff in the main series, but like there is stuff that goes without explaining because they expect you to just know JoJo. Like, why does Rohan have? What is a stand? What are Rohan's abilities? Why can he like make pages come out of your face and then write stuff and stuff happens?
What if instead of adding season 4 of that particular thing, they just, under the season 4 header, had a link to the Wikipedia page for it and said, this is all you need to know. You can watch our thing now.
I'm sorry. There are fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure spin-offs?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of spin-off stuff.
Every season is a spin-off. Why not just make it part of the thing itself?
Because Rohan is not a JoJo. Who
cares? There's been fucking whatever.
Look, these are like spin-offs are just opportunities to like explore the world outside of like what happens in the main parts. And also, like, if Araki's... 1 second.
It's a quality ringtone right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so... But also, like, if Araki's already moved on to a new part, but, like, there's something people want to explore in one of the older parts, that's what the spin-off is for. And there is good reason for that, because, like, there's a spin-off novel for Part 5 that, like, is really good called Purple Haze Feedback, and it's like, yeah.
Is there a way? Is there currently a way to view this season 4, though not on Netflix?
Yeah, there is ways to view this season 4, just not on It's just not on Netflix. You can check it out on Funimation and
that is strange.
Yeah.
It's also like
it's been out for years now. So
streaming rights, streaming rights like settle over the next like 5 years is going to be so fucking frustrating for like the couple years where everyone was trying to give their stuff to Netflix and Hulu, and now they all have their own services and nobody has the rights to their own shows anymore.
Well, it's a little different with. I mean, it's a little bit less of a, well, I don't know if it's less of a shit show, but it's a kind of a different procedure with like anime and stuff like that. So I imagine that this is,
well, as Netflix is trying to make big gains into the anime world, so we might see a little more of that on that front.
Yeah.
Well, there are other seasons of JoJo that are on Netflix. Just season 4 isn't on it yet, right?
They're the ones
making there, but not 4.
Yeah,
not the thing they're actively producing related content to.
Maybe they're gonna, just put season 4 on there soon after, because like eventually they probably were, right?
Who the fuck knows?
What? I don't know.
Maybe they don't have the rights to Part 4 and never will.
That's probably exactly what it is. Chat, do you have anything? I at this point, for the sake of time,
I'll just lightning around these Kickstarters and we're good.
Fucking go.
First one I want to talk about: Beacon Pines. Cute art style, cute little animals. Apparently, it's a creepy adventure game, like point and click adventure game. So yeah,
if you like around.
If you like Not in the Woods, this is probably what they're taking inspiration from. We have Mythic Prelude, which looks to be like a Legend of Zelda kind of game. It's 16-bit. It's they both have demos. So if you want to try them out before making the monetary choice, go for it. And then there is a graphic novel called Parsifal, which is about a knight and her quest for the Holy Grail. But that's really all I know because everything is in Italian, but the artwork is very pretty. So, if you understand Italian or just want to look at the pretty artwork, Parsifal. Yeah, and those are my Kickstarters.
Very nice. Alrighty, so we're going to kick it into the ratings. Jeff boasted of his clairvoyance, and let's see if his clairvoyance can lead us to the quickest rating section where we, as an editor's room, come together and try to decide what was the single most interesting, important, or impactful piece of geek news for January of 2021. I submit Gamestonks.
I agree. It is Gamestonks.
Gamestonks.
Gamestonks,
Yeah.
there you have it. That's the story. There's so much to read on
I have
it.
proven my
and
clairvoyance.
And I feel
This
like,
couldn't possibly have been a prediction. It was a divine message sent to my head. How else, out of all of these stories, would I have known that this was going to be the one that was chosen as the most
from
important?
sheer sample size, you're right. It's pretty staggering. You're very special. I feel like this is going to end up being one of the things where, like worker abuse in the games industry and Elden Ring, this is going to be something that keeps coming up. Like Jeff's Unicron stories. Speaking of which, some Elden Ring concept art came out this last month.
I thought you were going to ask about Unicron, and I was very confused.
I'm very sorry, no. And even Austin said the news is nothing, and then didn't reply after that, pretty much. So he's still pretty dejected. Well, there's some other stuff this month. Star Trek Discovery Season 3 ended. All in all, real step up from some of the previous stuff. A lot of fun. Got some issues with it, but I have issues with all Star Trek. But
Is there going to
a
be
lot of
another
fun,
season, or was that the end?
No, they're shooting the next two already, back to back.
Oh, okay, cool.
Production began in November. This one was just delayed because of COVID. And but no, it's lots of good stuff this month, aside from the insurrection. But I think that February is going to be interesting. We've already got some stories picked out for this next month, and in 1 month we will be back with a recap of February news. In 2 weeks, though, there will be a regular ass book club common geeking program where Chowder, I believe you did a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we already recorded it.
Yeah, we already recorded it. I spent pretty much an hour and a half melting Jeff and Jocelyn's brain about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I feel so bad because they also had to receive my Tenet rambling.
Yeah, I guess Jocelyn and I are just like the de facto go-to don't know shit about anything
Chowder,
people in this group.
You and I are tag teaming our friends' slow murders.
Yeah, boy!
All right. Well,
See, this is
been...
so it was all a fucking plan that Chowder didn't show up for the recording of the Tenet episode to get Jocelyn in on there.
Yes.
You two fucking coordinated it.
Yes.
I'll never tell. So that about wraps it up. We will see you guys in 2 weeks with the Final Fantasy VII episode, and in a month with some news from February 2020. I have been Colin.
2021, sir.
It is 2021. Time doesn't exist. And you can find me at Sonic Colin K on Twitter, Instagram, and I do most of the Dice Populi work on that show, and that's fun too. Jeff and Chowder, do you want to be found anywhere?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel that does toy reviews called Alchemist Prime Reviews. So if that's your kind of thing, go check that out. I also have an Instagram where once upon a time I posted my art stuff, but I haven't done any art stuff in a while. But that's things I wish existed, and there's a dot between each word. I should probably
You
just
could
post
start drawing
old
art
stuff
on
to
people's
that.
Postmates orders and then Instagramming that.
I don't draw. How long have you fucking known me?
Paint. Paint with the ketchup packets. The world is your canvas.
Oh, Christ.
Hi, I'm Timewell Chaudhary, or Chowder, whichever you prefer. You can find me on Twitter at Timewell Chaudhary. I also run the Common Geeking Program Twitter handle at Geeking Program. You can see what I do there. I'm also part of Dice Populi, which is a real play tabletop RPG. Where shenanigans happen. So
Yeah,
check that out.
it was such a fucking busy January was so fucking busy for me between that shit and then my all my work stuff came together in the same week and I died. So I'm really looking forward to February, honestly. I think this is gonna be a nice time. So yeah, keeping those cozy vibes rolling. You all have a nice day.
Ciao.
Adios.
This slightly delayed episode of the Common Briefing program is hosted by myself, Colin Ketchen. I was joined by Jeff Leavitt and Chowder. This episode is sponsored by Destiny 2 not giving me the piece of gear that I need, even though I've been trying to get it for 2 weeks. The podcast is created and produced by myself and Jeff Leavitt, with this episode edited by me, featuring original music also by me. And in 2 weeks, like I said, we'll be back with some fun times talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. In the meantime, check out commongeekingprogram.com to see more about this show, How You Doing, and Dice Populi, our other shows. And thank you for listening to this.
My clap came out real, wet and high-pitched. Then I'm not a fan. Did not go the way I wanted. I was hoping for a big, hearty thwunk. No thwunks for me.
Aren't we all hoping for a big, hearty thwunk?
A big, hearty thwunk. Hello, and
That's what I
welcome to
always say. I always enjoy big, hearty thwonks over fucking wet and high-pitched, personally.
The thwack-thwunk dichotomy permeates our friendship.